We're going to talk about light today. And as I was thinking about light, I was thinking about up on the roof, we have these solar panels. We've had them for a long time. Over time, the investment that we've made has come back full to the congregation. And it's a wonderful way that we also lower our costs here and create a more sustainable building. Solar panels are kind of remarkable. Some sciencey stuff happens, and they take light and they turn it somehow into energy. And I don't know how that happens, but it powers our lives. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking the same sort of thing happens with plants. And again, some sciencey stuff happens, a process called photosynthesis, something I pretend to know that I know, but have long since forgotten. But somehow plants are able to turn light into energy that can help them grow. And then if we continue this cycle of transforming energy, you've got animals that eat the plants, and that gives them energy. And then humans come along and we eat both the plants and we eat the animals, and that gives us energy. And then sometime later, we die and we go down into the earth, and we give our energy back to the plants to help them grow. And it's this incredible thing how light turns into energy to run our lives. Without the energy of light, there would be no life on planet Earth. And in a very real way, the world is full of energy. Everything is energy in one state or another, going through countless transformations. And so when we hear at the beginning of the creation story, when God says, "Let there be light," that was the beginning of something good, something God describes as very good. And I think if the Bible was written today, maybe that first act of creation might have been described using the language energy. Let there be energy. The first building block of the universe and primary ingredient for life, energy. We've been reading our book, Life After Doom, although some of you have already read it a long time ago and are wondering why we're still talking about it. We're coming to the end. This is our last Sunday. We've been talking about this book all year. This is our last Sunday. And the book ends with Brian McLaren, the author, talking about this epiphany that he had. He says, everything is energy. The universe is a cosmic dance of energy. And the neat thing is that we are a part of that cosmic dance. And I know this year we've been focusing on climate change and the social upheaval caused by our inappropriate use of energy. And you might come to the conclusion that energy bad. But McLaren reminds us that our use of energy is natural. He says, what got us into our current situation is not simply malice, stupidity, or greed. We are lured into the mess we're in by our desire for energy. That desire for energy is not evil. It is part of life. The energy transformation and exchange is just part of life. That is how it was designed. The problem is that our energy, our addiction to cheap, unsustainable forms of energy, and our reluctance to conserve or cut back on the energy that we use is leading us down this difficult road, and we've been talking about that. The world has some tough choices to make between the kinds of energy that we're going to use, as well as how we are going to use that energy. Because we've used energy in lots of ways that do harm and destroy, ways that hoard and control energy. But we can choose differently. That's what this year has been about. We can choose how we will participate in the cosmic dance, whether to be in step with the dance or out of step. But it's not just this energy out there, your solar, your wind, your fossil fuels, that we've been talking about. It's not just that energy in our natural world that we need to be mindful of. There is another energy that exists, and it exists within us. You could call it a spiritual energy, the energy of love, a creative energy, inspirational energy, the social, political energy. This kind of energy is hard for us to measure, but it's no less real than solar, wind, or fossil fuels. And I believe this spiritual energy is the kind of energy that Jesus was talking about when he told all those, the crowd that had gathered to hear his Sermon on the Mount, when he said to them, "You are the light of the world." Again, I think if this was written in today's language, Jesus would have said, "You are the energy of the world." But just like energy, like some energy can be dirty coal, some energy can be renewable solar, some energy is good, some energy not as good. Our lives can also run on different types of energy, because there's fear energy and shame energy, blame energy, hate, greed, arrogance energy. And just like globally, we need to have like an energy conversion to clean energy, each of us needs to have a personal energy conversion to the clean sources of energy that we might call spirit, love energy, joy energy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness energy. Because here's the thing, as the world slips further into its energy crisis, as we use energy in wrong ways, it's not just going to be our cars and our homes that are going to be affected by this sort of energy loss or this energy crisis. The energy that our souls run on is going to be in danger too, because there will be more and more people who will want to capitalize on those negative energies, to manipulate our energies, the fear, hate, the greed that is within us, and they're going to want to manipulate that for their own purposes. We see that happening in our world today. And the light that Jesus talks about in each of us is in danger of growing cold and dark. And so this is why McLaren urges us in the last chapters of his book to find our light and shine it. And in a way, that is what this whole year of Life After Doom has really been about, finding your light and shining it. When McLaren was writing his book, he said that he really saw the titles of each chapter being like a mantra that we could use for mindfulness exercises. And we're just going to take a look back. I've got a couple slides here. Because as I was looking back, I was able to appreciate more and more what he meant by that. And here's our image. This is kind of where we started in January with this U theory of change. And we began this sort of change that we were undergoing by letting go. And some of the chapter headings, the mantras that we had were this. Next slide there. And you can say these with me. I am waking up. Welcome reality. Mind your mind. Hope is complicated. These are the mantras that we began with. And just because we started there doesn't mean that we don't need to still go back and remind ourselves of these things. I am waking up. I am welcoming the reality. I'm minding my mind. Hope is not so simple. Hope is complicated. We still need to practice these things. And some of us may even need to stay in this place of letting go a little while longer before moving around the curve. But we did move. We continued on into our next slide here. The next move in the curve was letting be. And our mantras were these. Let's say them together. Learn to see, seek indigenous wisdom. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. Start with step one. And some of you have bravely come on that journey this year, some through the book study that we did, others on the green team, some of you on your own time have been just opening yourself up and seeing things in new ways. And together we've been gradually making that U-turn, which comes to the next stage, which is letting come, this place of resilience, where we welcomed the courage that we found in these mantras. Let's say them together. We are not the first ones here. Imagine safe landings. It only takes 2 or 3. When life gets tough, we get tougher. Little by little, in 2s and 3s, we've been imagining new pathways for the church and our planet. And that's materialized both in a new Green Initiatives Fund that we have here at the church and the planting of 165 trees on our property. That's been the fruit of this U-turn that we've been taking together. And all of this has been coming together in just these last few weeks. We've been making this last part of the curve, the last slides here, to setting free. And our mantras for setting free were, let's say them together, beauty abounds, what a time to be alive. Find your light and shine it. And that's where we are today. Today, find your light and shine it. And even though today ends this year-long journey of life after doom, my hope is that all these lessons, these mantras that we've been internalizing, that we've been making part of our lives, that will stay with us. And that when the feelings of doom come, and they are going to come again, and when the world seems dark and there's fear and hate and greed seems to be all around us, I encourage you, you can go back. I've made a playlist on our YouTube site of all the sermons from this last year. Maybe you need to hear beauty abounds again when the world is ugly. Maybe you need to hear it only takes 2 or 3 to remind yourself that you're not alone. Maybe you need to hear mind your mind when things seem chaotic inside. Use those sermons. Retrace the journey that we have come together. It's not a common thing for a church to have sort of one focus through the year. But I hope that together we've been doing this important work, and it is really important work, and it's work that needs to be done, that each of us needs to do. There's a light, an energy in each of us that needs to shine and be transformed into good deeds, as Jesus says, for all to see. And so I'd like to, just to kind of inspire you. This inspired me. I'm going to share about a good deed that I just witnessed yesterday. Some of you will know that someone in our congregation was moving yesterday. And if you've ever had to move before, you know the stress that can take on you. And especially when you're not sure if you've got enough people to move the big things in your life. And so I popped over to help with the move with a couple other folks from Gale. But then I was surprised. We weren't the only ones who showed up. A couple neighbors showed up, and they recruited some of their friends, and they chipped in. And it was this wonderful experience of church and neighborhood coming together to help someone who really needed it. And the move, I thought we could be there all day. It took us 2 hours. We were in and out, and the person was so thankful that we could come together to support them. And I just couldn't believe it. And it was just this beautiful thing to see the light in people, the energy in people being transformed. Just like solar panels and photosynthesis happen. The light in people was being transformed into kindness and generosity, in lifting couches and carrying boxes. And that kind of transformation keeps happening over and over again. And it reminds me that there's this beautiful gift, this beautiful light in each of us that just longs to be shared. longs to go out and be transformed. The prophet Isaiah said, "Arise, shine, for your light has come." I saw that light yesterday, and I see it all the time here at Gale. I see that light in you. I see that light that is Jesus Christ in our community everywhere I go. And we're at this time of year when the days are getting shorter, right? And it just seems a little darker each day. And that's kind of an apt metaphor for the world that we're living in today. But, you know, there is a song that says, "It only takes a spark." And so I really think this final mantra that Brian has given us, "Find your light and shine it," is so important for this time. The world needs your light. You are a lampstand. We here at Gale are that city on a hill, shining. We are all, as Jesus said, the light of the world. And so to quote another song, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Amen.